Hello and welcome into week 4 of the Iowa high school basketball season. We got another show here for you guys. I am joined, as always, by the some may consider legendary Callan Nelson. We took a little break during the winter break. No games being played. Um, we had some interesting posts that certainly got a lot of attention. Um, Nelly, what were your thoughts on the the backlash we kind of got from those player rankings?
My thoughts on the player rankings. I think our rankers did the best job they could. They were telling us. It is a hard task to break down every single player in the state and put it onto just one list. Of if you're a little butt hurt, you're not on there, or thought you should have been higher. Now's your time to shine. You'll get bumped up. We're watching. We're watching. There will be another player rankings later in the year, and we'll be watching for those players who are taking the jump from just the short few sums of the weeks that we had to the bigger scale at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think it's important to keep perspective that everything that the rankers do, whether it's teams or players, it's all through Bound. We the rankers, just us doing the research for these shows, we're not at all the games. We can't see, who's doing well for what people, but we do the best job we have, and of course, there's always the option. Social media is amazing. If you don't like our rankings, you are more than welcome to do your own. So, I'm glad that we got a lot of engagement there, you guys. Um, we got a lot of comments, but we also got a lot of likes. So, expect more of that in the future. I think that did really well. I was very happy with how it turned out, but in any case, let's get on with what we've got for today. So, we're going to be covering the Week 4 rankings. Of course, we're going to do Nelly and Nick's picks, our dunks and dogs for the week. Short week. I think only Thursday, Friday, Saturday for games this week. Monday and Tuesday, New Year's. People celebrating that. And then we'll have our games of the weeks to cap off the show. Soon, I want to cover this briefly. We'll get more into it as the week goes on, but we're going to have full coverage of the conference crossover on Saturday. Sadly, Nelly will not be there. I was very disappointed to hear that. However, myself, I will be taking videos of every single game at the conference crossover. I know that Kevin Hoschild, incredibly talented photographer, he's going to be there with me covering those games. So, tons of ranked games, just a bunch of really talented teams and awesome players playing in this event. So please keep up with IA basketball, IA sports. You're gonna find full coverage of that event over there on that Saturday all day. So don't miss out on some big games. Nelly, let's get into these rankings. Um, I'm going to pull up the first rankings. I forgot to pull up the Google Sheet before. But regardless, I'll let you look at the 4A rankings there right quick. Some movement that we see. Cedar Falls stays put at number 1. Top 3 there, all staying put with Dubuque Senior and Valley as well. Johnston and Cedar Rapids Kennedy both get a boost up in the rankings to number 4 and 5. Linn-Mar stays at number 6. Let's see, Waukee and Waukee Northwest, they move up. Waukee goes up to 7, Northwest down to 8. Muscatine and Sioux City East get a big boost there from 9 and 10. Dowling goes down to 11. They move down 2 spots. Iowa City West moves down 4 spots to number 12. Ames down a spot to 13. Bettendorf back into the rankings. They were in the rankings earlier in the season. Then they fell out for a little while, but they are back like they never left. 4 and 2. Davenport North, they drop a spot, and Cedar Rapids Prairie into our rankings for the first time this season. Those are your 4A rankings, and we will move on to the Class 3A rankings. That's been those top 5 teams there with Ballard, Clear Lake, Nevada, Decorah, ADM. They've really been just rock solid in their spots there in the top five. All really talented teams. They stay put yet again. Um, then we have Knoxville. Oh, excuse me. It was a week. That was last week. Waller is up to number 6. They're up 2 spots, and that bumps Knoxville and Storm Lake down a spot. Pella, Des Moines Christian all get a boost up in the rankings. Mount Vernon and MOC Floyd Valley new to the rankings. Mount Vernon, one of the few undefeated teams in Class 3A. Gilbert goes down a spot. Xavier and Glenwood stick at 14 and 15. And Central DeWitt, another team new to the rankings this week. Class 2A. There's your rankings. A new number 1 for Class 2A. West Burlington. They have arguably one of the best players in the class. That was one guy that definitely some people had some strong opinions about. He's really talented. I mean, him and Emiliano Berantes, I think they're neck and neck for that number 1 spot. They're both incredibly talented players, but you see there the team rankings, West Burlington up to number 1, West Lyon falls down a spot, but West Lyon a chance to prove themselves and potentially get that top spot back. We'll talk about this more later for our game of the week, but they take on number 10 Unity Christian this week. That is a big game. Monticello sticks. Western Christian back up in the rankings, back up to number 4. They are 3-2 right now. Kemper Catholic 6-0. They stick in the number 5 spot. Cascade falls a couple spots. Trainer stays at number 7. Grandview Christian up 2 spots. Grundy Center also up 2 spots. Unity Christian down a spot, but like we just mentioned, that's a big game there. A chance for Unity Christian to maybe prove themselves and get a big boost in their rankings. Applington Parkersburg moves up 2 spots with their 7-0 start. Tri-Center sticks at number 12. Pella Christian down 7 spots. Regina Catholic, they'll stick at 14. And Albia and MFL Marmac, both off to undefeated starts in the season, and that will be good enough to get them into this week's rankings. And we will finish off with our 1A rankings. Top 6 all stay: Northland, Madrid, Marquette Catholic, Woodbine, Keota, Holy Trinity. They all stick with their rankings. Bedford and Remsen St. Mary's swap there with 7 and 8. Coon Rapids Bayard, they stay at 9. Gladbrook Rhinebeck, Lake Mills, all the same rankings from last week. North Mahaska and Mount Air both get 3 spots up in the rankings for both of them. Northwood Kensett, they new to the rankings, starting the season 7-0. Very impressive start for them, and it shows. They're in the rankings. Janesville loses last week, and they drop a few spots. Dunkerton losing last week, or the week prior, and they drop to number 16. So that was our rankings. Like I said, I didn't want to talk too much about the ranked matchups because a lot of them are games that we'll talk about later with Game of the Week. But Nelly, it's time we released our rankings, and it's time for us to make our picks. We will start with Class 4A, just like usual, and I will let you get us started.
All righty. Boy, am I excited for this week. It's going to be a lot of good games of basketball, especially during the weekend at the conference crossover, which is my dog of the week. Some might not call it a dog as they were ranked number 1 preseason, but Des Moines Valley over Cedar Falls. Cedar Falls is the team to beat, but if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Valley at the Powerhouse. They're off a 3-game win streak and a plus 12-point differential in all of those games. I think Valley can get it done against the Tigers. And then for my 4A dunk, I'm going to take Hawkeyes over Urbandale. Hawkeyes is hot. They're on a 4-game win streak, including wins over Dowling and Hawkeyes Northwest. Give me Evan Jacobson and the Warriors.
Yeah, that Waukee team is both. We've both had a chance to go and watch them. They play with a fire under them. They are um, extremely extremely impressive to watch. And yeah, that they've got quite a squad over there. So here we go. I'm gonna start off with my dunk. I'm going Johnston. They play Ankeny Centennial. Credit to Ankeny Centennial here. I mean, they've had a really tough schedule to start off here. Ankeny, Dowling Catholic, Urbandale, Iowa City Liberty, and Valley. So 4 out of those 5 teams have been ranked at some point this season. But Johnston, I mean, they have just been red hot. Outside that loss to Waukee Northwest um, on the 13th, they've just been dominating. They've been playing really good basketball. Um, Unfortunately, it looks like Bound's website is having some troubles today, so I can't give you leaders for that team. However, I think I'm going to stick with Johnston to stay hot and play well as they have so far this year. And my dog for this week, I'm going to take Cedar Rapids Prairie. Um, this is a team that's they're brand new to the rankings. They're taking on Ames, who, they're a really solid squad. I'm just realizing that I'm picking from this game. I'm gonna be there. This is no hate to Ames whatsoever. I'm sure somebody is gonna say something to me now. I'm gonna be a little bit scared, but Cedar Rapids Prairie, they're a really talented team. Ames, obviously, incredibly talented as well. It's going to be a really tough fight for the Hawks. Um, so that'll be a really fun one to watch at the conference crossover. And so, yeah, those are our picks for 4A this week, and we'll move on to Class 3A. Nelly, go for it.
All right, my Class 3A dunk of the week is going to be Nevada over Perry. Cubs are off to a 7-0 start to the year, and I don't think they're going to be slowing down anytime soon. But of course, Perry is no pushover, but I think Nevada should be able to control this game and start off 8-0 on the year and maybe move up in the rankings. Who knows? And then my 3A dog of the week is going to be number 6 Waller over number 6 in 4A Linmar. Waller is as hot as they can be. They took down Iowa City West and played very close to a really good Dubuque senior squad, losing that one by 3. Waller is definitely a team to look out for in 3A when it comes down to the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. That Waller team, I think I picked on them last week. They've been looking really good over there out in Dubuque. Kind of sucks. They're definitely out of my range for teams to go and watch live here in central Iowa. But in any case, it's really fun to cover them. So, yeah, they've looked really solid to start the year. I'll go with my picks. I'm going to go with my dunk. I also picked Nevada against Perry. Perry, they've had a solid start to the year, 5-2, but I mean Nevada's just been looking like they have solidified themselves as one of the best teams in Class 3A. So I won't go too deep into it since you've already covered that one. I'll talk more about my dog here, which is Pella, a debatable dog. Um, they're playing Western Christian, who is one of the best teams in Class 2A. Both 4-2. Western Christian, who's making the drive here? Western Christian is making the drive. They're quite a ways away from Pella. So this is definitely going to be an interesting one to keep up with. I think both of these squads have a chance to win this one. I think it'll be close. But I'm going to take Pella for the upset in that 3A ranked game. We'll go over to 2A picks. Nelly, let's see what you have.
All right, for my 2A dunk, I'm going to take Denver over Olwine. Denver is starting out 7-1 and should have no problem claiming another against Olwine. Talon LaFrenz leads the scoring. Shout out to another talent in the state of Iowa. Shout out to my boy. And he leads the scoring for the Cyclones with 19.4 points per game. Shots by Dev might be at this game. Not sure. I'm not sure what his schedule is looking like this week, but he is a Denver alum. So I do have Denver beating Olwine in my dunk for 2A. And my 2A dog of the week, debatable dog again, number 11, Appleton Parkersburg over number 9, Grundy Center. This game should be an absolute shootout, and it is definitely contender for game of the week in 2A. But I would give it a slight edge to the game we have above it. these two teams are pretty evenly matched, but I do have AP coming out on top in the upset.
All right, yeah, Dev. How about he's quite the MVP for IA Sports. He has provided lots of amazing pictures. Shout out to Devin Bass. He is a dog in terms of photographers for us. We got a lot of photographers who do a lot of great things. Um, but yeah, definitely shout out to Dev. He helps us with that Northern Iowa coverage. Uh, my dunk for this week, I've got West. Here we go. I've got West Burlington. I couldn't find him in bound there for a moment, but they play Wapello. Um, West Burlington. I mean, Mason Watkins. He is a stud. How can you not talk about him when you talk about Iowa high school basketball? Incredibly talented player. He got some love in our player rankings, and I think it's absolutely well deserved. I think he's arguably number one player. Um, Falcons are 7-0, and I think he's going to be a really fun player to watch as the season goes on. And if I get a chance to watch him in state, that would be great. But I'm going to go with West Burlington to pick up the win, the new number one team. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about the number one player in Class 2A with Grandview Christian. Grandview Christian, as I pull up their game here really quick. I'm on the wrong day, sadly. But they play Trainer. Ooh, dog. That is going to be a tough game. Trainer has been a really solid team this season. They have started the season 5-2. They haven't moved much in their rankings, but Emiliano Barantes and his 8-0 Thunder have a chance to get a pretty impressive ranked win here, and so that's where I'm going to go with here for my dog. And we will cap off our Dunks and Dogs for the week with 1A. Talon, finish this up.
All right, my 1A dunk of the week is Lisbon over Midland. And after losing to two ranked teams in Regina and Marquette Catholic, Lisbon has gone on a 3-game win streak going into this game against the Eagles. I like Lisbon to keep that streak alive here with a win on the road against Midland. And then my 1A dog is going to be number 16 Dunkerton taking on the almighty number 1 Northland. After a rough couple of games, I feel like Dunkerton and Dylan Marquette can get back on track with a huge upset over the inevitable Mason Beckett.
All right, I'm going to go with my dunk, the wire-to-wire thus far, number one team, Northland. I want to give a reminder that I didn't say this, but the way we're doing Dunks and Dogs is similar to football, how you could only pick a team once. We're doing it after the month passes. Once it's a new month, you can start picking those teams again. So that's what we're doing there. So I'm picking Northland. I've picked them before, and how could you not? This is one of the best basketball teams across all classes. They have just built a dynasty out east. And, Mason Beck, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but he has been absolutely outstanding. Bound says he's averaging about 40-some points a game, which is just video game numbers, man. I mean, incredibly impressive. So I'm going to take Northland over Starmont in that one. And another team that I've talked about quite a bit and that I've really become a fan of is Coon Rapids Bayard. They take on Woodbine this week, which we'll talk more about in a moment. Both teams undefeated thus far. Something has to budge, but I think the Crusaders I think they're one of the best teams in the class. So I'm going to take them to get an upset against Woodbine. So that's going to do it for picks. We're going to move on to Game of the Week. This has kind of become Nelly's segment. I will let you get started talking about unfortunately, it says week 3 games of the week. The games are correct. Ignore which week it is. That was definitely my fault.
Oops.
But, Nelly, I'll let you take
That might have been me.
for 4A.
All right. The 4A game of the week I did mention a little bit earlier, is going to be number 1 Cedar Falls versus number 3 Valley at the conference crossover. Cedar Falls coming in, Valley coming in on a 3-game win streak. Cedar Falls is the team to beat, but let's look at this game by the numbers. Both teams combined are 11-1, with the only loss coming against was Valley against Dowling. They have 6 ranked wins, 4 top 15 players, and a combined 39.1 point differential. This game should be absolute cinema. Very disappointed that I'm going to have to miss it, but Nick will be there. Kevin will be there. All eyes will be there.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. That's definitely the nightcap, 7 o'clock of that big long tournament. I'm really excited for that one, and I know you're jealous that you don't get to be at this one.
I, I talked to Dev too today, and he's nervous as well. Or not nervous, but jealous as well.
It's definitely going to be a great game, and like I mentioned before, you can find all the coverage for that on our socials. You can find us on X, Instagram, Facebook. We're going to be posting all over there clips from this game, pictures, and of course final scores. We'll move on to Class 3A, Clear Lake and ADM. This is going to be interesting.
The Class 3A game of the week is number 2 Clear Lake versus number 5 ADM at Wells Fargo Arena. Pretty big game here. 2 teams who are at the top of the class. Clear Lake undefeated, and ADM coming off a close loss against number 1 Ballard. Thomas Mayer versus Hudson Lorenzen. I think Clear Lake takes this one, but what about you, Nick? You were at the Ballard game. How did ADM look this year?
Yeah, ADM, it was kind of an interesting game. ADM kind of took control early and didn't really look back, but then towards the end of the game, I mean, Ballard just had this surge of scoring. Some unfortunate turnovers, and just the fact that Ballard just kind of rolled with the punches and kept up with them throughout the game ultimately is what changed that upset bid that ADM had. But to tell you how important the game was to the number 1 team, they did storm the court. If you didn't see that, Ballard stormed the court after winning. It came down to the buzzer. It came down to the last shot for ADM. They needed to tie it, but ADM is definitely one of the top teams. They competed with Ballard all the way to the final buzzer. So I was really impressed, but I haven't been able to see Clear Lake in person, so Wells Fargo, that's kind of near hometown, so maybe I'll make my way over to that one. I guess we'll see. But we'll move on to 2A. Let's see what we have here.
All right, our 2A game of the week is number 2 Westline versus number 10 Unity Christian. Westline bouncing back from a shocking loss against Sioux Center, but Unity Christian is also coming back off a loss of MOC Floyd Valley. Both these teams are looking to get back on track, but I don't think there's a better game in 2A this week.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely the top game in my opinion. Top 10 game, and Westline's got something to prove because, when you get a loss to an unranked team like that, obviously there's going to be doubters. So they're looking to quiet those doubters, and Unity Christian looking to gain some extra credit and some extra love in their rankings. So we'll see how that one turns out, and we will finish this video off with our 1A game of the week.
Our 1A game of the week is number 4 Woodbine versus number 6 Coon Rapids Bayard. Woodbine is one of the most high-powered offenses in all of the state. They're 4th in scoring in 1A with 77.8 points per game, but they're also number 1 in the state in points allowed with just 34 points per game. Coon Rapids is not far behind in defense with 36.4 points per game, but can Cal Hayden and Coon Rapids defense keep up with Woodbine? I don't know. Nick, how do you feel?
Yeah, Woodbine's been kind of one of those quiet teams. They haven't played a bunch of games this year, but when they do, I mean, they're dominant and they look like one of the best teams in the state. And that's what they've been so far. So, to my knowledge, Woodbine hasn't played a ranked team yet. So this should be their first one. So if there's any question marks around the Tigers, this is definitely going to be putting an exclamation point on those. So that's going to do it for us. That was a great show. 25 minutes, not bad. Nelly, it's going to be a shorter week, but certainly jam-packed with content, especially that Saturday.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Don't forget to check over on the Instagram, Facebook, and X. That's where we're going to be dropping our rankings tomorrow. Um, so just keep up with us, man. We're trying to push this content out the best we can. We're trying to give you guys as much love in the posting as we possibly can. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. We appreciate everybody showing us love. Um, Keep the socials going. We love the engagement. We love seeing your guys' opinions and your comments. We're always reading those, whether they're for better or for worse. Keep it coming, guys. We really appreciate you guys helping us out this year, and we'll see you next week.